People, Deluded, I'm back again. Quick one now. I don't want to keep speaking about Guendouzi or Matteo Guendouzi's future. I don't really care if he stays, great. If he goes, you know. But it's neither here nor there until I see some official movements. I can't speak on it. But naturally, in relation to our game against Sheffield, Arteta was going to be pressed on it, asked on it. And, you know, it's a bit... I always find it funny because I like Arteta because he answers everything honestly. But as a man, you can always tell a manager's honest intentions, people. And I think Guendouzi... For me, I think he likes Matteo Guendouzi. I just think he wants him to fully buy. I think he's 50%, 70% better yet, bought into what he wants. But I think he just wants to see a bit more professionalism, and he wants to see him truly on board with what he's trying to do. And obviously, he's got concerns with Matteo allegedly unable to find balance with certain things. But on the possibility of him leaving, he said, as I said yesterday in the press conference, whatever internal issues we have, we deal with them privately. I'm never going to make that public. So he could have said Matteo's not leaving, categorically denied that, but he didn't. So I'm not saying it means Guendouzi's going to leave. It doesn't mean he's going to stay either. I'm just saying it's funny how these things are answered, because if that was potentially if he could say a band member was definitely staying, the language would be different. He was pressed on whether he thinks Guendouzi will be an Arsenal player next season. He said, all the players that are here, I'm counting on them. Now obviously he's saying that to keep people's face up because some members in that squad are not good enough. If they want to jump the boat, they are more than welcome. Jump on the boat, sorry, they are more than welcome. That's always my mindset. I'm here to help all of them to improve individually and collectively. That's in my job. So I think he wants Guendouzi to buy into fully what he's doing, or there might be something Guendouzi's not buying into, or whatever, people. So I think that kind of sums it up. I do think the club are open to selling Guendouzi, but they're open to keeping him. I think first and foremost, the priority would be to keep him, to make him a part of the team in somewhat. I do think the club are open, away from what's happening with Matteo right now. The fact of, you know, we signed him for 7 or so million. You know, we're seeing 40, 50 million shouts, you know, that we talk about Dortmund model and stuff like that. That is the Dortmund model, sort of thing, selling players for a profit. Yes, there is the case of potentially becoming a better player. So I don't know, there could be a case of potentially installing, you know, a sell-on clause and protect yourself. But these are things as well you've got to do. They might look at it from a flip and think, you know what, we want Partey, fair enough. You know, Partey might not be here, might not have as many years left in the tank as much as Guendouzi, but this immediately helps us. And, you know, if Partey is more closely aligned with what Arteta wants, then we've got to make some harsh decisions, people. Personally, I feel the only midfielder Arteta truly rates is Granit Xhaka. I think he likes Joe Willock. I think Maitland-Niles is down to him to impress. I think it's, you know, it's Mesut Ozil. I don't really think he rates Torreira, really. I think he's using Ceballos in a job. I think Xhaka is the only one I think he can see that Guendouzi is a good midfielder, but I think Xhaka is the only one that's truly his guy. So it's down to Guendouzi to convince him and fight for his future here, man. If I want him to stay, I've said it many times, but you know what, if players don't want to be here or they're not 100 committed in this thing, then go, because at the very least, if we're going to be this top 10 team, if we're going to really need to take years to rebuild, then I want people that want to be on board on this thing, not people that are on it one day, not on it the other, and don't really understand how the privileged position they're in. He also spoke in relation to Hector Bellerin, on basically Bellerin needing time since his injury to get his best form. And to be fair, Bellerin has looked good some games. Other games he's looked poor, which again need to get consistency, similar to Holding. And with all due respect, I understand he's a bit rusty and things like that, but I don't understand what relevance that has into your decision making, because it's the decision making in the final third. It's the going backwards unnecessarily at times, you know. And I think for me as well with Bellerin, obviously he's told to be narrow, but I don't think Bellerin truly wants to overlap anymore and do that. And obviously in the modern game you need your fullbacks to do that. I think Bellerin has got to offer us more. A lot of players do, but I think Bellerin's got to, man. And I'm prepared to give Bellerin one full season under Arteta, and then if not, I think it's time we cut our losses. Personally, he said, as you said, he's had a lot of injuries in the past season that hasn't allowed him to be very consistent, even in training or the games that he's played. And to be fair, he has played with a knock as well. It's important to remember that. And obviously, whenever that happens, your level of consistency and performance will always drop. But the effort that he puts in the commitment that he shows to the club and the players is always at the top, and his performances can improve. Of course they can. He's trying hard to do that. We are here to help him. And to be fair, I want to see Bellerin play, man. I want to it seems a long way away, but I want to be able to look at Wan-Bissaka, Trent Arnold, Pereira of Leicester, and who else, and be able to see, yeah, my left back's one of the best in the Prem. But I can't scream that, because I truly don't believe Bellerin is one of the best in the Prem. I like Bellerin a lot. I'm very fond of him as a player. You know, he's not English, but he's more or less adopted English. He's come from Haaland via Barcelona. What I like about him as well is he's very vocal on things rightly or wrongly. He stands up for his teammates. And I like how, you know, away from football and Arsenal, he's not afraid to be himself, whether that's his diet, his fashion, all of these things. I really admire that, really and truly, that in today's day and age, especially when they say focus on football and things like that, and all of that, I think he's a good example. I got a lot of time for Bellerin, but I love my football club more, and I keep it fair, people. I want to see a bit more from Bellerin, because right now it's looking like we were silly for rejecting that 50-odd million bid a couple of years ago from Barcelona for him. And you know, if you get back to that form, things can happen. You know, Bellerin's contracted until 2022 or 2023, so you'd imagine these are pivotal years in him, man. You know, he's been at Arsenal, but it's like you've got to look at your career a bit differently now. It's like, what do you want to, when you retire, what do you want your legacy to be? Do you want to get a Spanish cap? Do you want to be one of the best in the Prem? Do you want to be someone Arsenal look at and think, or when Arsenal fans think of Arsenal, they think of Hector Bellerin first, or in the lineup first? Do you want to be outright captain? Do you get it? You know, you might not even want to be at Arsenal anymore. Do you want to go to a bigger team in Spain, in your homeland? You ain't played in La Liga like that. Or do you want to go to an Italian team or whatever? These things are only going to happen with better form. And he's at that time now. He's 25. He's been around for football in a while. You know, it's time to really sit down and critique what you want to get out of this life, because it's short, people. I know he does. And one thing I like about him, he's very switched on with what he wants to do off the field. But right now, I want to see different things. You get it, people. I want to see the different Bellerin. I want to see Bellerin go up a gear again, man, because he's got it in his locker. But you know, as a fan, you're wondering, the longer you don't see it, how much has these injuries chipped away at him? You know, the big injury is one thing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we've got to allow him a bit. He's coming back to full fitness. Like, we'll never comprehend how much off his best currently he is because of his injury. But like I said, that the massive one, the big injury he had, the lengthy layoff, that's one thing. But for me, I'm starting to think about how much has these, and I don't know the full time scale, but how much of these little thighs and hamstring and these little knocks every week or every day in training, how much have they affected him? Because it all adds up, people, you know. A 1 injury here, 2 injury there, 3 injury for, before you know it, you've had 10 minor injuries. You miss a 1 week, a 2 week, you know, you've got a match on a Saturday, you ain't trained on the Monday, you train on the Tuesday, you've missed 2 days, you're doing recovery session, and then there's no surprise you're not at your best, people. Even playing through the pain barrier. Now, to be fair with you, I admire him for playing through the pain barrier, but I think clubs need to allow players sometimes, because it's dangerous. Because to be fair, I do believe clearly you've got some level of fitness, you've been past fit, but then I do believe it's to how far does the excuse of not being fit, not being 100% carrying and not carry over, people? Because obviously if you've been declared fit to start a game or even be in the matchday squad, you must be able to go a fair amount of time in that game. You've done all the tests and things. So when you're going out there and not playing your best, to fans, we're seeing, you know, he might have pain when passing, and he might, you know, be trying to counteract that. But we're just seeing him not passing, sort of thing. So maybe clubs need to be a bit more smarter than put people in the firing line, because at the end of the day, if you're starting and you're playing, you know, how much does that excuse go? Because you must be fit enough. You know, if you're not fit, then you shouldn't be playing. Or if you can't contribute properly, you shouldn't be playing. And if he does want to still pursue with playing, then the club needs to save him from himself. And right back's an area where we need to improve, because Pepe needs to do more himself. Pepe needs to improve more. But when you look at left back, you've got Tierney, you've got Aubameyang in front of him, or you've got Martinelli and Saka or Kolasinac and something, and Xhaka going out there. We're very left-hand centric. Our right-hand side is obsolete. Like, we don't make nothing happen down that right-hand side. The link-up or the relationship between fullback and winger is non-existent. I think Bellerin in the game to Pepe passed twice to Pepe last game statistically, which is not good enough. And I want to see us improve there, man. I want to see a bit more communication and relationship with whoever's playing down the right-hand side. So we'll see what happens in that regards, man. But in relation to Matteo and obviously Bellerin, I've got nothing more to say. I'm going to get out of it. It's always a pleasure, people. Make sure you comment, subscribe, check my socials. The links are all in the description. I'm out.